And so, hi everyone, my name is Michael Cohn, and I'm a product manager for the care teams at Medic. As many of you know, for the last few months, we've been focusing on updating the user interface to make it easier for health workers to learn and use. Last month, we gave a full side-by-side demo of the updated screens compared to the old versions. But since some of these screens, some of these changes are fairly significant, we want to just make sure that we overshare and be absolutely clear to everyone that what's changing. So I'm not going to go through and demo everything again, but I just wanted to make sure it's top of mind for everyone. And also, here's a link to the demo that we did last time where it goes through everything side by side. Next slide, please. There are a couple other updates I'd like to highlight. So first up, we are removing a few screens. All these screens have been in the CHT for a long time, but as the product and deployments have evolved, some are not really as relevant as they once were, and we're just trying to reduce the complexity of the code and the size of the app and everything. So we wanted to it made sense to remove some of these. The welcome screen and the configuration screen were basically shown the first time someone logged in and were really intended more for desktop and admin users, but most projects were disabling these screens before anyone saw them anyway, so we've decided to get rid of them. The guided tour is, some of you probably are familiar with, is a generic sort of step-by-step tour of CHT screens. It was automatically shown the first time a user logged in, was available from the hamburger menu. We recognize that self-paced training like this is definitely valuable, but the guided tour as it stood was in need of quite a bit of work, and the library that we used for the tour is no longer active, so it didn't really make sense to invest a lot of time updating all of that. Fortunately, in 4.2, there are some new remote training capabilities with the training cards, and there's some other remote training capabilities documented on the CHT documentation site. So there are some other capabilities, and we'll continue to look into how we best support those training opportunities for the app. But I'm gonna just pop another link in here. So this highlights some of the removed screens, why we're doing it, and some extra context on that. So next slide, please. The last thing I wanted to chat about is some other work that we're starting to dive into right now, which relates to getting better insights into how users are interacting with the CHT so that we can make better decisions on what to build or where users are having issues and stuff like that. So some of you are probably familiar with the telemetry data that is available in the CHT. It's user level data that is aggregated on a daily basis. But the primary focus for the telemetry data is really around how the app is performing from a technical perspective. So like performance related things. So in the little screenshot here, we can see, for example, the replication medic to success. So this is gives us an idea of how many times a specific user replicated on that given day, and roughly the actually the max and min time it took to do that replication. So these are really kind of more technical details from a telemetry perspective. Next slide, please. Now, there are also a few existing telemetry metrics that can help us better understand how users are interacting with specific components. So in this little visualization we see here, I can see that 6 users interacted with the search feature on the reports tab in this given month, and 3 users interacted with the search feature on the contacts tab. So by looking at trends of this type of data over time, particularly before and after certain UI changes were made, we can get a better understanding if users are having a hard time with new or updated features, or perhaps if they are using a feature more often after an update, suggesting that its discoverability is even better. So these are the sort of things, there are a few things like this in telemetry today that we can get some pretty good information on. Next slide, please. So all of that is super helpful, but it's still missing some key information about how users are really navigating around the app. So for example, what path do they take in the app to complete tasks? Are users really going directly to the tasks tab to look at the top of the list and decide which tasks to complete on a given day, or are they actually just going to the contacts tab and finding the household that they're at and tapping on the task in that list? Are they navigating back and forth between screens very often? Is the app unresponsive on taps? Those types of things it's data that can really help us better understand how users are actually interacting with the app and navigating around. And that'll help us make we need this information so we can really make some data-driven decisions on new enhancements. So one of the things that we'll be working on this quarter is really enabling this analysis. So adding on top of the existing telemetry data, the capability to do like path exploration and keep track of things like taps on the screen. So really just starting a lot of the design work on this, and we'll be posting on the forum soon and looking for some feedback.
Hey, I'm Ashley Jones. I'm a technical product owner here at Medic, and I'm going to have another update today about Watchdog. Just a brief clarification, you may have heard us refer to it as CHT monitoring and alerting, and most recently CMA. That's out with old, the new is CHT Watchdog. The change in name is to emphasize the fact that we're trying to watch the health of the CHT instance and alert on it. The alerts are actionable so that we can prevent downtime and prevent CHWs from being unable to deliver care. So that's the emphasis of the name change, is to really call out that the alerts are key. Next slide, please. And speaking of alerting, what we're looking at here is in the background is a screenshot of Watchdog, and I've highlighted the fact that even without setting up the push part of the alerts, all alerts are built in. So we've been working to track the key metrics that we think that folks should be alerted on based off of the monitoring API built into the CHT, and have those alerts firing before you even set up push notifications. And so the push notifications can come in the form of email, or they can come in the form of Slack or SMS, or really anything else that best suits the deployment. We recognize that each deployment works in their own way and wants to receive alerts in the medium that best suits them. So I wanted to call this out that it is built in. And on the next slide, please, we have a list of all the metrics that we're currently alerting on. I'm not going to go over these in detail, but a lot of them that we've been testing, we've found that the backlog ones, like the Sentinel backlog, Couch to PG backlog, outbound push backlog, are often key indicators of a CHT instance that needs some attention or needs some checks on it. We will be documenting each of these alerts and publishing more documentation on them so that y'all can know what the alerts are that are built in. And of course, for all Watchdog deployments, you can extend the alerts that are in there. So if for some reason a metric that we don't think is important is critical to the success of your deployment, you can easily add on additional alerts on top of the ones that we ship built into Watchdog. All right, next slide, please. So I mentioned earlier about that we were testing out these alerts. So Medic hosts a number of instances, and recently one of the instances was having some health issues where CHWs were reporting some issues with the instance. And while we had existing monitoring in place, we were able to run Watchdog side by side with that monitoring. And we can actually see in this graph that normally the Sentinel backlog, which is what this graph is of, has these little natural spikes as maybe there's a flurry of activity that comes in with CHWs registering at the end of the day or synchronizing at the end of the day. But what would happen pretty much all the time when the system became unresponsive is there was this massive spike in the Sentinel backlog. of messages that were putting pressure to try to be processed but weren't being processed. And then you can actually even see that there's gaps in the graph there on the right near the end. And those gaps are actually the watchdog trying to query the monitoring API and not getting an answer back. So by making sure we record the lack of data as well as the increase in the Sentinel backlog, paints a very clear picture that this instance needs attention. And in fact, we ended up increasing the size vertically of this instance to help offload that pressure. And while we didn't have alerts set up for this, it's really important for us to validate this against production data so that we know not only are the alerts that we're modeling for this helpful, but that they could then be fired and delivered in the most helpful way that folks can expect them to be.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. It might be great if you can share how they can get that set up or share any feedback.
How they can start using CHT Watchdog? Is that the question, Nancy? Yeah, great.
Yeah.
It is on GitHub, and as well there's documentation about how to install it and get it running. It leverages Docker Compose, just like we do for CHT3 and CHT4. So when I get a second here, when I'm not talking, I'll go ahead and post the GitHub link, as well as the documentation for how to install it and start using it today.
All right. Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, there is a comment from Mark. Mark, would you like to ask your question?
Sure. It's great to see this and awesome to see the chart and the alerting capabilities. And just when I'm watching this, it's just curious if this is an indication that Sentinel is having a problem, or is the problem, or just that this is a good marker to know that there is a problem on the instance because there's the Sentinel backlog increasing.
Yeah, good question, Mark. Thanks. So the alerting will always be very narrowly focused, right? It'll be myopically focused on the issue at hand, but not the cause. And so it'll always be up to the CHT administrators to dive into it. And we try to give suggestions. Each panel on a dashboard will have some tooltips as to how to troubleshoot. But in this specific case, no, Sentinel was fine. I think that the issue was a large amount of documents that were having trouble being processed. So we might call that CPU bound, but I can't actually remember, and I don't want to bother SRE without exposing, sensitive data. But yes, it wasn't specifically Sentinel in this instance.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Mark, for the question, and thanks, Ashley, for the response. I will invite Nekesa to take us through this last section. Welcome.
Thanks, Anthony. You're right. So the accelerator, I hope most people on the call are familiar with our accelerator by now. But then for the benefit of anyone who isn't, last year in about, I think either March or May, together with Bear Foundation, Path and Medic, we announced the Digital Health Entrepreneurship Project, where we shared that our aim was to, one, advance broad use of open source platforms, that we wanted to support local entrepreneurs and developers to adopt new tools more and to adopt them faster. We also wanted to ensure sustainability of those tools and make it easier to adopt those tools in response to health system needs. So with Bear Foundation funding, Path and Medic have supported 4 Africa-based organizations to expand the digital health tools for community health and also explore sustainable business models. And you'll get to meet these entrepreneurs very soon. So with Path, based off an organizational capacity assessment that they've done, they're now able to support the grantees to ensure that they have sustainable business models, whereas what MEDIC is supporting the grantees to do is that we developed a curriculum, which you can find on the CHT Academy. And then also through capacity building training, we're helping to ensure that they are well versed with app building, design, product development, and so on as they build and deploy their CHT tools. So it is obviously our absolute pleasure to invite the grantees for this cohort to introduce themselves to you. And I believe you're starting with Porsche IT, so I'll hand it over to the Porsche IT team. Welcome.
Hey, well, my name is Wycliffe Oda. I'm a developer at Porsche IT, and basically I'll be introducing the organization as well. So what we do is specialize in developing customized technology solutions that address the specific needs and challenges of businesses. The real deal here is that we do accelerator programs and provide opportunities to join provide opportunities for business to maybe join digital spaces and gain expertise to enable them build a digital tool that can support delivery of healthcare services to communities. So I'll let the rest of the team introduce themselves. I think I have two other developers with me. That's Brian and David. Yeah, so go ahead, Brian. David.
Thank you, Wycliffe. My name is David. I'm a software developer at Porsche IT.
And we have Brian. Okay.
All right. I think Wycliffe, that's okay. I hope you are done with the introduction.
Yeah, sure. The missing member is Brian. He's also part of the development team.
All right. Yeah, we are looking forward to getting more feedback from you and updates on your progress in the program. Thank you. The next one is IntelliSoft. Japheth.
Thank you. Yeah, so team, my name is Kiproti Japheth, software developer here at IntelliSoft Consulting. So just briefly to explain about IntelliSoft or the ICL, is that this is a Kenyan-based company with a focus in digital health solutions, especially for the LMICs and the sub-Saharan Africa at large. So what we do is that we provide services around health management information systems, and also we do research and information. So this particular accelerator program is in line with our mission, that is improvement of health technology infrastructure, and also it helps us in enhancing and offering the current offering capacity to build scalable and sustainable digital health solutions. And for focus in this particular sprint is that we were developing two modules, that is the pharmacovigilance and the Mama's Hub digital adaptation tool. So for the pharmacovigilance module, this is basically working one-on-one with the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. That is for adoption, localization, and also enhancement of this particular CHT in incorporating a reporting tool, specifically around the adverse drug reaction, the poor quality, and also the events following immunization. For the Mama's Hub, our focus basically was on the documentation. This as we had done initially in our previous work in terms of the digital adaptation kit. So in line to this particular scope of work is that our focus is just around the documentation. Yeah, so basically that's it from us, ICL. Over to you.
Thank you. And you are looking forward to learning more, especially with the pharmacovigilance module. Thank you for your introduction. Guild Digital, is it David or Solomon?
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. I hope you can hear me. Greetings to you all. We are Guild Digital Solutions, and our focus is building the highly customizable digital solutions. We prioritize, we prefer to use global goods, which is why we are aligned with CHT. So because of the cost implication of deploying with the CHT and also the maturity of the product itself, we are deploying in a unique setting, which is the refugee settlement. We have built them an impact monitoring platform and the VHT app for driving primary health care to the doorstep, but also to monitor health program. The impact of the care actions taken on the tool. We are working with several organizations who are doing some good advocacy for us in that setting, which is UNHCR, charged with oversight of the refugee environment. And then there's IRC and MTI, who are health implementing partners. There's Oxfam, Water Mission, who are operating WASH programs, and several more. But these are our top advocates. Our tool, our product, has been endorsed by UNHCR for scale up, and we hope to support or impact the adoption rates for CHT with close to 3,000 VHTs. The team is also currently building, under the framework of DHE, we are building a supervisor app to support maturation of the digital health program in the refugee settlements on behalf of UNHCR and the rest of the program partners who run VHT-based health programs. On the call with me is our product manager at Guild Digital. Solomon, please say hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Solomon Kahuma. I'm product manager at Guild. Nice to meet you all again. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Solomon and David, and we are glad to have you here. Looking forward to learning more about the refugee setting supervisor app. Let's move to the last one, which is Bring Innovation. Michael or Beatrice.
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. I'm actually with Beatrice here, and I can see Kembo, Sheila, and John on the call as well. Happy to join the community. So Brink is a design and innovation company that leverages user-centered design approaches to solve problems, design products and services. We are excited to be part of the Accelerator program for the opportunity to work on expanding digital tools for community health and contribute to the CHT. We will develop a use case around community health surveillance and share our innovation radar with the CHT community.
All right, thank you. And thanks for sharing all those experiences. We are hoping to give you an opportunity in future just to share more documentation and learnings from the Accelerator program. Since there's no question, we also give an opportunity to new community members to introduce themselves. We've also seen Ernest, who is joining us for the first time. Ernest Mutua.
Good afternoon, team. My name is, good evening. My name is Ernest Mutua. I'm an epidemiologist and lecturer at the Kimathi University of Technology in Kenya. Thank you.
All right. Zite, would you like to say hi to community members before we wrap up?
Nothing. Hi, everyone. I am Zite, and I just joined recently as a user researcher at Medic. Excited to be part of the community and meet you all. And I'm based in Malawi. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks. Thank you all for getting time to join the call. Hope you can also get time to join us in our next roundup call, which will be happening on June 8th next month. We are hoping that you can also get time to join that call. We'll be sharing the call notes and also the recording on the CHT forum. So look out for the recording just to recap about the session. Thank you for your active engagement, and I want to wish you well for the rest of the day or the evening. Thank you and talk to you soon. Let's continue the conversation on the forum. Thank you and bye.